we're going to create our first interceptor. We need to transform the data. What do I mean by transform the data? Let's say, let me open the products controller. Let's say I would like to add the data. Let's say I would like to add the data property here. Let's say I would like to add the data property for every controller response. I want to wrap my result into the data property. But if you will add the data property manually for each controller, you will violate the DRY pattern. Don't repeat yourself. Instead of adding the data manually, we are going to create the interceptor, and this interceptor will add the data property for every response. Let me show you what does it mean. I already implemented that. Let's say I'm going to create a new product. I'm going to create a new product. You can see that it has already wrapped my response into the data property. I'm going to find all the products. You can see that we have the data property. You can see the data property. You can implement or achieve this feature with the help of interceptors. Let's create a new folder inside the common directory, interceptors, nest generate. For interceptor, you can use the short form, which is IN. I'm going to provide my directory, interceptors. Please create the interceptors inside the interceptor directory. Here is the complete path, and I'm going to provide the name of the interceptor, which is transform. You can see that we have successfully created the transformed interceptor. I'm going to log that. Let's say it's before this statement will be logged before executing any request handler. You can also check what is inside this context object and what is inside this next method. Let's say that. So I'm going to use the logging here, context. Let's provide the next. I'm going to run the project. I think my application is running on another terminal. I need to stop it. I'm going to run it again. Cool. Application is running, but we did not apply this interceptor. It's an injectable, so you can use dependency injection pattern. You can also apply for this separate controller method. So I'm gonna apply on a complete for each handler. Use interceptors. I need to provide the name of my interceptor. Let me provide the reference, which is transform interceptor. I have to import it manually. Common interceptors, we have transform interceptor. Transform interceptor, cool. Transform. What is that? Transform. it should be transform. I missed a typo here. Let's rename it to transform. Also need to update the name here. Transform, cool. Now you can see the transform interceptor. This interceptor method will run before request and before accepting request and before sending response to the client. Let's create a new product. A new product is created. You can see that we have the before. It has locked in here. You can also check the context. It's an incoming message. You can check the readable state, socket connection. All this stuff is available. Params, original URL, body, and the response. This is the handle method. What we want to do, we want to transform the response object. We want to map the response into data property. So it is returning the observable. So we need to think in the form of observable. So we need to first of all get the observable stream. Then we need to map this observable stream. For that, I'm going to use the template. I'm going to define my class in the generic class. You can also define some type because we need to get the response. You can also define your generic type. I'm going to define response. It's an interface, generic interface. Let's provide the data. Type should be T. The type should be T. The observable type should be T. I think I need to cancel one. Now it looks good. So you have to return the observable with this data, this property. So how can I get the observable stream? You can use the pipe method. This next.handle, let's say I'm going to log this console.log, let's say next.handle. It's a stream. I get the observable. This is the observable. Merge map operator, they are using this one. So I got the observable. So we have to apply some logic. We have to use some RxJS operator. If you want to get the handler, you can also do that by using the context.getHandle. Get class is used to get the controller. Which one is the class? Get handler is used to get the method. Another product is created. You can see that. First of all, I logged the get class. It's a product controller. I got the get handler. It's an async function which is create. So our purpose is to transform the object into this one data property. So I'm gonna do something different here. We're gonna use the pipe operator to transform our stream. So you can apply operators. Pipe operator is used to take the input as a operator, then it will transform into another function. So pipe operator basically lets you allow to use multiple operators. So you can use filter. Let's say we have a multiple operator. Oops. Let's say we have filter, we have merge map operator. So you can use multiple operator with the help of pipe. So you can, now I'm going to transform the stream. I'm going to apply some map method. Make sure you have imported the map from the RxJ observer RxJS operators. Cool. So I got the map. Here we need to get the data, or you can say that data is equals to data. But I'm gonna do something different here. Oh, I'm gonna use this one. So both key and the value are same. So I'm gonna remove this one. Let's create a new product. A product is created, but it is giving me the array results. Let me check my product controller. Yeah, it looks good. I got the array of the products. I'm gonna find all the products. Let's create another product. Awesome. I'm gonna create another find all the products. You can see the data property. You can also find product on the based on ID. I got a single product. You can see that our response has mapped into the data property. You can also delete that. But we are sending this response not found exception. So the interceptor method runs before the request handler. Let's say I'm going to say that before ... First of all, it will run this one. Oops, we need to use this here. New product is created. You can see the before method. Before sending the response to the client, it has added this data property. So maybe you will have the couple of the questions. I'm going to open my docs. So what does this next do? This next, it's a reference to call handler, which provides access to an observable representing the response stream from the route handler. Interface describing the details about the current request pipeline. So if you want to get the stream from the response, you have to use the next method. That's why we use this next.handle, because it is returning an observable. Whatever I returned from this products controller slash, let's say we are talking about this one, you can access this response in the form of stream here. This handle method allows that. What about the execution context? It's an interface describing the details about the current request pipeline. You can access that request pipeline here from the context. Nest Interceptor, it's an interface to describe the implementation of the interceptor. I already talked about call handler interface providing access to the response stream. Why intercept method effectively wraps the request response stream. You can add some logic to manipulate the request object, or you can add some logic to manipulate the response object. That's why we use the intercept method. So you can use pipe to link operators together. You can use multiple operator by using the pipe. You can also use the merge map here. Pipe lets you to combine multiple functions into single function. It looks good. The pipe function takes its argument, the function you want to combine, and returns a new function. This is the exact same stuff happening here. So map operator applies the given project function to each value emitted by the source. It's very reasonable. I know you got the map operator. You can transform that. It's going to apply this projection on each element of this response.